Welcome to 0 Hit Points, everybody. It's June 11th. I'm Ryan Miller, and he's talking E3, R.E. me, Matt Amberg.
I am super happy that that's the direction you went with it.
Yeah. It's all going to devolve into Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Scott Aukerman references at some point.
At what point is that a bad thing?
That's my thinking, though, yeah.
Right.
Because it's 0 Hit Points, where we talk about video games. I'm sure none that we've played this week, because it is that E3 week.
It's Me 3. Everybody's so up there on buttholes about E3. Like,
You're the one that just said Me 3.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're like, oh, look at me, I'm at E3. I'm gonna be doing cool stuff. Look at all the video games I'm playing. To all the people that are like, oh man, that trailer was neat.
I feel like you're projecting a little bit.
What?
You kind of wish we were at E3 right now, don't you?
What? What? Look, with I admit this. We talked about this last week. That I have this, like, you and I are both kind of, we're having time issues with finding games and stuff, and I'm having some issues with just kind of like being excited about video games.
Sure.
But you mentioned this, and it was kind of funny because it totally is true. This all happens, like, I start feeling this way, and then E3 shows up, and there's like 8 games. And I realize, like, when I say 8 games out of the like 100 that were shown, it doesn't sound like a lot, but based on my current knowledge of myself, that might be all I have time for in the span of 2 years. But there are some games, man, I admit, yeah, kind of excited.
You're trying
for.
to say that we're on a cycle. Our cycles have synced at this point.
I think so.
And whenever E3 pops up, it's there because we know you're all getting a little tired of games. Here's a pick-me-up type thing.
Yeah.
First taste is free.
No, I think you're spot on.
That should be the tagline.
E3.
First taste is free. The first taste is free 3.
Free 3, there it is.
And that's because they got it at the end. Yeah.
TM, that is copyrighted 0hitpoints.org, everything else. You can't have it. I'll sue you.
Every taste is free at 0 Hit Points. Where we talk about video games. I already did that one.
You did. It's fine.
E3. So the way we're going to do this, and I know every year I'm like, this is how it's going to work. And I feel like every year it works differently.
Sure, I'll go with that.
This year, this is how it's going to work.
Okay.
We're going to, in years past, we've done big long lists and talked about just everything under the sun. And it's been fun, and video games are exciting. But I feel like we get bogged down in shows like that, and we kind of just can go on, especially down some rabbit holes, which are what we really want to talk about probably, and have no idea what the games were after that. Like right now, I couldn't tell you half of those things. They probably never came out anyways. So this year...
Or they don't come out for another 5 years.
Or we're seeing them again this year, so why do we talk about them the first year? This year, all it is, you go through, we've looked at kind of what's been going on. I've done some of the rundowns. I haven't had a chance to watch any of the press conferences in their totalities, which might have something to do with all of this, the fact that we just don't have time.
Sure, yeah, and I did get to watch, the Xbox one.
I was going to say, it sounded like you were watching that live even.
I was not watching it live. I watched
I
watched it this morning. I was doing something at work, and so I put it on. But I was also skipping parts of it because there were things like that I just frankly don't care about Oni. I'm never playing that game. I don't care about it. It
looks fine and pretty, but I don't care about
either
of us are going to mention
I don't
that
care
today.
about Microsoft Flight Simulator, even though it looks neat. I'm never playing
Dang, that was on my list.
Yes. But it's stuff like that where I don't know.
Exactly. No, you've summed it up perfectly. So we're going to go through, I'm going to talk about the things that I saw that I thought I have 1 or 2 words on that looked interesting that I thought, I don't know, whatever. There's literally no qualification, or that is the only qualification. So
sure. You're
going to do the same. And by the end of the show, it'll be over.
Yeah. And the thing is, I only have really one to talk about. Everything else is kind of, No. Like I'm not.
Ryan springs the E3 on Matt.
No, absolutely. I think we're doing that from here on out because it's just more entertaining. No, but I just truly didn't have. I think a lot of the stuff that was shown was, it looked great, some really cool stuff, but there was not a lot of like in the things that you're expecting. They're kind of by the numbers, like you know what a sequel to Doom is going to be. You know, at this point, you're
True.
looking to see it because you want to go, oh, how bombastic is it? But you know
also
what it
on
is.
my list.
You know, yeah, no, I'm excited for Doom. I want to play it, of course. I love that. You know, you and I, that was our game of the year for us a couple years ago, I think.
That's very true.
But you know, it's there are games where I'm looking for a little more innovation than I'm seeing in some of the stuff that, like, I want to play. What is it? Outer Worlds? Is that the Obsidian game?
Yes, on my radar for sure.
Game looks way different than I thought it was going to be in that preview, by the way.
Didn't see the preview actually. Game on my list, not on this list. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, super different. Not what I was expecting. Like, and I'm even more like, okay, you totally swerved me.
But that's the one that's like Bethesda's that are doing the Fallout type, but smaller.
Yeah. It was Knights of the Old Republic people and stuff.
Okay, that's right. Gotcha,
Yeah. And it's like, it looks similar to that. It's following that stuff, but it's just the look of the game. Totally not what I was expecting at all.
Huh. Well, now that we've got all the things we don't want to talk about off of our list,
let's talk about the Outer Worlds. What is it called?
Oh, we should mention this is going to cover also one kind of pre-show thing that I think we're due for. Then we'll talk about a little bit about the Devolver show, a little bit about the Microsoft show, and a little bit about the Bethesda show. The Ubisoft, Square Enix, and PC gaming conferences are going on today, as in yesterday for you future folks, because we record this a day early. So that might be next week. I don't know, depending also on what happens. I guess we'll maybe have a thing or two. I don't know. It's all by ear is the thing.
You know, that's how we do things. That's
how we do. That's how you should do things. You should do this podcast by ear, viewers.
Yeah, there we go.
So the one thing I was thinking that's not necessarily E3 related, but was obviously timed with all this E3 hubbub, was on Saturday, and it had to do with something we've kind of skipped over. There's been announcements about it. They've kind of trickled out some stuff, but really it's been insubstantial, I guess, for the most part.
Sure.
Google Stadia. So they announced all the subscription details. Basically, there's two, it seems like. One of them is $10 a month. That includes no games, I believe. I think all of these include no games. You're still buying the games a la carte, as it were. But the two tiers are the base tier, $10 a month. It says it still includes 1080p, 60 frames per second video, stereo sound. If you go Stadia Pro, you can get 4K 60 with HDR 5.1 surround, and this is all depending on whether or not your bandwidth can handle this stuff, which we'll get to. But then there's also a Founders Pack, which comes with Stadia Pro, just 3 months of it, but it does come with a Buddy Pass for an additional 3 months that you can supposedly give to a friend, I would imagine, or use yourself.
Yeah,
for
keep
6 total months,
don't give
maybe?
that to anybody.
I don't know. Yeah.
You don't have friends.
And it comes with a Chromecast Ultra, a limited edition Stadia controller, and I believe this one does come with some games. Whatever, I don't know why I'm mentioning all the subscription stuff anyways. That's interesting, I guess, for those who didn't know if it was going to be like a subscription type thing, you know, like a Netflix, like you've got a library of games to choose from or whatnot. I still want to say it comes with some. Like there was a thing about Destiny.
Well, Destiny is going to launch day and date with it, and it's going to have, and Destiny is going to have cross saves.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the cool things, I think, in Destiny Land as well, wondering what that game was going to turn into now that Bungie is no longer with Activision. And if, as far as, I don't know if this is a first step, but early steps go, this is pretty cool in that they're dropping all platform exclusives, adding cross-platform saves, which, yes, will allow all sorts of import, like character import even to Stadia and all that. So that's cool for Stadia. That's cool for Destiny. I could have sworn there was just whatever. Games will be supported. They'll come with. You can buy them, and they'll come with your purchase of that game. That's. There you go.
That's solid. I think that's really good way of explaining how purchasing works.
Sure, that's what we're here for. You know, people come to us for information. I feel bad if we don't give it to them.
No,
Some of the games announced: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was the one I played when before it was named, I guess, Stadia, when they did the whole beta thing.
Yeah.
I got on there and played that, and which I guess I should mention my experience with this stuff. I know I mentioned it in the moment, but also the reason this is interesting to me at all is because I was in on that beta and it freaking works. Like,
yeah,
yes, we have to see how it scales. How are they going to do with a lot of people, in this thing?
Right.
And especially if it gains in popularity, which the promise of this is amazing. It should and likely will. I'm intensely interested in something that provides me PC gaming without the PC.
Sure. No, yeah, that's kind of perfect for you because
right.
My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but your big like bugaboo about PC gaming is that it's a ton of you're building your own computer, you're taking it apart.
I hate keeping up with drivers and software.
Right,
and
then things work and things don't work. And then
I'm one of those walled garden.
And then Windows exists.
So Assassin's Creed Odyssey was the game that I did play with that, and it was perfect. It was like I could tell the artifacting, it was like watching a YouTube video where sometimes it'll artifact or whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as the input goes and any of the lag, it was non-existent. It totally worked. So
you got to think that's their top thing.
I would hope so. Yeah. Dip the quality in favor of connectivity. So
which begs the question whether or not this is something that works really well in the US because our infrastructure is so bad when it comes to
no joke
networks, and then on top of that you have so many people are stuck with no options. You're Comcast or you're not, you're CenturyLink or you're not. You right. have no internet, and that's another issue is that. So it's I understand what the appeal is. This is something that there is a 0-sum chance I will ever use one of these services. I will never replace anything with that.
No. I mean, I feel like you're with me on this too. I'm kind of a graphics guy, Mm-hmm. I will opt for locality as far as that goes to play stuff natively and do that. There are some games where I might care less, and this might be Stadia would always be a supplement of sorts for me, right?
Sure.
It would never be, as I would probably still default to Xbox and whatever for premium experiences, I guess. I don't know. However they're going to brand that when they start talking about differences. Or actually, I believe Microsoft probably already did.
I have to imagine, especially since they showed off their own version
xCloud
of this. Yeah. Which I guess didn't go super well, but
oh really?
Well, I think that it was a mistake for them to show it there. I think they should have talked about it a little bit and said we will talk about this further on later on down the road.
But did they demo the actual thing?
They didn't demo it on stage, but they had demos open. And so everybody's going in and trying it, and they're all going to get the same kind of, there's one of I want to say it was Ethan something from Kotaku. I can't remember his Evan. I don't know. One of the guys from Kotaku or something said, the issue we ran into was that there was Wi-Fi problems because you're in the middle of a huge thing where Wi-Fi is being taken up by everybody. So they had to hard plug this into an internet connection so that they could experience using the cloud. I don't know
why they do that at convention settings at all.
That's what I'm saying. It's I think this was I don't think it was the right place for them to do it. I don't know that it got panned or anything. I just saw the one thing and I went, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. Why would you do that?
When OnLive was making the rounds, I remember thinking the same thing because I want to say they had some of that at PAX. And I'm like, this tells me nothing because number one, I don't know if it's hitting a server. I mean, they tell you where it's hitting the server supposedly, but who knows, and whatever, how are they hooked up? And it's just none of it tells me anything about real world usage of that thing, or dependability or whatever. So.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they did. It was one of those things where, okay, so we don't really know the dependability because you're not giving us an actual real world situation.
Right. So yeah, the other games they talked about, Baldur's Gate 3, which was the big exclusive. I think there was a leak about that earlier, and we actually talked about Baldur's Gate a little bit and our histories or lack of with that game last week. I think it was even, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's exciting either way. That's a get, I would say, at the very least.
Okay, sure.
But Borderlands 3, Crew 2, Darksiders Genesis is another new game coming out. It looks kind of like a Diablo-y Darksiders top-down thing. It's not a, strictly speaking, Darksiders game.
Well, like anything has to be an improvement over that one we played at PAX last year. Boy, which some people liked, I guess, when it finally came out. Those people are wrong.
I don't know.
No, they're wrong.
Destiny 2, we've talked about. Doom Eternal. So those are the weirdos that like, if Stadia can do those games, it can do anything type thing.
Man, if it can do those in the, like, if they have the super nice versions of them, because didn't Doom come out in 4K?
Eventually, yeah, I want to say they patched that in.
Man,
it was straddling.
If that game runs 4K and still holds up to like the 60 FPS, you in particular, like, I don't have the TV for 4K. I don't even have a monitor for 4K, so it doesn't, like, it's nothing to me.
I've got all of those.
But you have all of that cool stuff, and man, that's gonna look real good. That's gonna look real.
Well, that's
nice.
definitely something I'm not gonna be Stadia-ing.
No, but I mean,
sure.
that's totally one of those things where, like conceptually, like something like that would be
right.
Yeah. If that works, dude, that's cool.
It is huge for Stadia, yeah, for sure, because that is just the Twitch game, right? The reaction, not the channel, right? Yeah, website.
We're good.
Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Elder Scrolls Online, Farming Simulator, Final Fantasy 15, Football Manager, Get Packed. I don't even know what that is. Grid, Guilt, Just Dance. I'm gonna say Guilt is another. It's either new or exclusive. I can't remember.
Either way, it's how I feel after I eat every meal.
Metro Exodus, Mortal Kombat 11, NBA 2K, Power Rangers, Rage 2, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Samurai Showdown, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Tom Clancy. So Ubisoft doing their thing. They love launches. And Wolfenstein Youngblood, but we'll come back to that.
Okay, let's do that. Circle back.
And that's it for Stadia. That's it for the non-E3-ish stuff.
Well, it was garbage to begin with, so let's go.
Okay, we're going to ease our way into the show here, though, with Devolver. They do shows that are funny.
I've heard that.
They're just great.
I have heard.
I don't know how to explain them.
I hear tell that they are quite humorous, and with their presentations seemingly not taking anything very seriously.
They just pull it off. Like, I get the joke, and I feel like if you heard somebody talk about that, you'd be like, well, great. Like, I'm sure that's going to be 50% funny. And then, it's also press conferences. So anytime anybody tries to do a joke about or on stage at a press conference.
Oh, it's just like a crash and burn.
I mean, the miss rate is huge. Yeah.
Even when you're a professional comedian, by the way, like when they've had professional comedians come out and do stuff, it's like they're just crickets. Like, you people have never heard a joke, or you're so focused on a video game you can't take a minute to laugh.
Yeah, it's bad all the way around. It's bad for the person on stage. It's bad for the audience who doesn't understand. It just doesn't fit. Devolver pulls it off.
Sure.
So I'm not going to talk about the whole thing. Also didn't watch the whole thing. But the one takeaway, that the trailer I saw that did come from that, was this 8-in-1 bootleg.
Oh, they're remaking their own remakes?
Basically,
they're remaking
their own.
Yeah.
It's fairly cheap. It's on sale right now from $4.99 to $4.95 on Steam, apparently. But the games include Enter the Gun Dungeon instead of Enter the Gungeon, Hotline Milwaukee instead of Hotline Miami, Ape Out Jr. instead of Ape Out, Shooty Boots instead of Downwell, Super Absolver Mini Turbo Fighting Championship, that's Absolver, Catsylvania, it's the cat instead of the Cass Sylvania, but also it's Gato Roboto, Piku Biku Ball Stars from Piku Niku.
Please watch your language. This is a family show.
And my personal favorite, Luftrausers, with an O instead of an A.
They really went off on that one.
And honestly, some of these games I've heard about and have been kind of interested in. So if this is just like the gameplay is exactly this, I know it actually looks like that's not exactly it. Like some of these are what are the Piku Niku one? I think the Ball Stars one. Yeah, that appears to be a different actual game, but intrigued, says this PC gamer.
Sounds good.
And that's all I had for Devolver. I don't know if you saw anything else.
I didn't. I didn't even. I heard about the game. I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
So, and to be fair, Devolver games for me are not something that I have gotten into.
That's a good actual discussion there that we can probably have someday when one of us plays an actual one. Because I feel like I do like them. And I feel like there are some on my list. Like I would play The Messenger. I did play that at PAX actually, and would think about getting that. But yeah, there's something. Yeah, I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, it's I don't really think about them. They're not games like it's not that I'm not interested in them. Some of them look really fun, but I just I don't know that I want to. Do I want to spend time with that game? I don't know.
I mean, some of them are very bespoke indie darlings. Like I feel like they're made to be that, or I'm just getting too meta because it's just an independent developer that made a game that looks like that because he's independent. But some of them also, I feel like...
A lot to unpack on that sentence.
Yeah, right? This is great. I feel like some of them really walk that line between gimmick and game, almost.
Yeah. I think that might be it.
So, and it might be a gimmick that I enjoy. Like The Messenger, for instance, which is very much a Ninja Gaiden game.
Sure.
I would want to play that. Love that game, whatever. It's just like, is that all? I've heard that does kind of improve meaningfully, but is it enough type thing? So yeah, that appears to be a lot of Devolver games for me. And so,
yeah, I think we're in the same boat on that one, actually.
Okay. Then Microsoft. And honestly, I only have 4 things. You talked about Flight Simulator. Really all I had on that was that I thought it was cool to see it. Like that was just a cool,
it's super
flash.
Cool that they brought that back, and it looks good. It looks very cool.
I've been thinking for a long time they should, and I never got into the games ever. Like, okay, maybe I had the one for Windows 95, whatever it was. But I never followed it or anything. I just thought that, man, they should, what if they did a real next gen, crazy one of those now? And that looks like what this is. So that was kind of oh, fun, cool.
Yeah.
The probably big thing you could not hear about that in fact, I want to say it was the only thing I did stop what I was doing to go look at.
Oni.
Because the news was popping off. You were sending me texts, and I was like, I don't really have time. I'm not digging into this. I'll do it right before the show because that always works out. This thing I had to go watch, Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Trailer was great.
Starts off
with this dude who appears to be couriering some sort of data within his skin, neck, head area.
Yeah.
Delivering it to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Gets taken out in the process. There's a fight. He's got some enhancements going on there, some cyberpunk enhancements.
Things from probably 2075, 76, maybe.
The whole thing's beautiful. It's what do I say about it's just what you think, but it's the perfect that. But then he gets knocked out and he wakes up because Keanu Reeves wakes him up. Keanu Reeves is in the game.
Now, I have to ask you, as soon as he spoke, did you know who it was?
Oh yeah. I mean, okay. I saw the headline before I saw it, so I knew. But yes, I feel like I would have recognized
the minute he opened his mouth. Oh, it's Keanu Reeves.
Right. Yeah. Well, I also just saw John Wick 3. We'll talk about that on Thursday. So
Book Club for Movies. Check that out.
Might have had something to do with it, but also Keanu Reeves. He's just at the forefront of your mind. He should be.
Always. There is never a reason to not be thinking about Keanu Reeves.
It's just, to me, so intriguing that he is so close to this Johnny Mnemonic type character in the game.
Right. He's yeah.
Do they touch on that? Is he couldn't be an actual continuation, right? But that he's involved.
I totally have to think this is one of those bits where somebody got a hold of him and was like, hey, Johnny Mnemonic was cool. We got a video game that's kind of like that. And he goes, all right. Sounds good. Let's do that for a while.
It just looks like it could be Johnny Mnemonic too.
No, for
he
sure.
would be the grizzled veteran, helping out this kid or doing something or imparting something. It's too perfect.
Yeah. I hope his name is Juan.
Or something.
Yeah.
Or no,
Johan.
Johan. That'd be good. Actually, that's pretty good. He's
Johan.
got a Swedishness about him.
Sure.
Asian, that guy. Hawaiian, maybe? It's Asian. Hey, so the other thing they talked about was Psychonauts 2. They showed a trailer, which that's great. I'm sure it's going to be fun. I never played the first Psychonauts, but I'm interested because was it that good?
It's a super good game.
Okay.
That is totally a game that I would recommend you go back and play.
I wonder if they must have brought that into the backwards compatibility list.
I think so. Yeah.
If not, maybe they do the whole, when they release the new game, they're like, and you get the old game for free or something, or on pre-order or something.
I do hope they actually kind of do that. That would be awesome.
Cool. That could be my in. But kind of regardless of that, like the trailer's fine. Like I'm sure I'm interested in what Tim Schafer does. I'm interested in what Psychonauts is going to be what I have heard.
That trailer is definitely I think it's aimed a little bit more specifically at people that were looking forward to it and know it.
Oh, okay. It looks like some next level stuff. Like everything I've seen about the first game looks smaller in comparison to everything they showed in that trailer, you know?
Yeah, significantly so, I think.
So that's cool. I am more, I don't know if amazed is the right word, but interested, kind of taken aback.
Intrigued
that they have acquired Double Fine.
Yeah.
That's been their latest now third party acquisition, now first party game developer.
And they were getting out ahead of that. Schafer and Double Fine did relay that everything they had planned ahead of time is still going through. So all their Kickstarter stuff, regardless of platform, that I think Psychonauts 2 is also coming to every platform. It's not exclusive to Microsoft.
Gotcha.
So,
you know what? I hadn't thought about that. Like
they will be, but they're not right now. I think that any game they develop after Psychonauts 2, that will be Microsoft exclusive.
I wonder though, really, because in a way this is only good for Double Fine because Tim Schafer is like the what would you call that? The champion of maintaining your IP. You know,
Sure.
like he's spent years going back and buying all of his old stuff when he was produced under different publishers and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he's done great stuff with it. You know, he's just a great champion of that. So I don't really worry about that. I'm sure it's in the contract that Microsoft isn't going to own anything that they do, right? Definitely not outright, you know, whatever there is.
Right.
But yeah, now I'm curious, do they become exclusives? I feel like that's almost still anti-Schafer in a way.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that Schafer did come out and say, part of the reasoning behind the sale and the reason they went with it was because they have had such a hard time getting funding for their games that now they don't have to worry about it. Now they can actually just make games. And
that's the one thing I thought about. You know, this is only good for them and that it's money.
Yeah, and I, obviously we don't know outside of like the internals of everything, but it certainly seems like they have been giving their studios some leeway, like decent amounts of leeway, and I have to think that Schafer has that cachet to go, yeah, we're gonna do what we want, just give us the money, and they'll say okay.
Yeah, this is all corporations, and as much as I like Phil Spencer, he's got a job to do type thing.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, they've been talking up a good game about acquiring the type of developers for the types of games that they want. So under that ethos, they don't need to change anything, right? Because they're buying the people to make the game. They're kind of buying the game that they want from the people that make the game that they want. So they talk up a big game. We'll see. I guess it seems to be, the big question really is what happens if Microsoft takes the lead in the next generation, right?
Yeah.
Because they're playing catch up right now. Like that's why they're so nice. They're just whatever, like we're cool. Look what we can do. And yes, they're doubling down on the kind of the services end of it, whereas Sony is beating them hardware wise. So,
well, and then that's going to be the other question now is with Microsoft having xCloud and the kind of, I don't want to say insane specs for Scarlet, but they're
theoretically
pretty good specs right now. Like that thing looks like it's going to be a pretty decent monster. And my curiosity is going to go, what is Sony's response to that hardware wise? And where are they going to, are we going to truly get the actual like financial war where, Sony's never going to make that PlayStation 3 mistake again. They're never going to charge $500, $600 for a console. They will take a loss for a decade before they do that again.
Right, yeah.
Microsoft already knows they take losses. Are they going to come out at the $400 price point like everybody kind of would expect? I don't know. I'm very excited to see how the next generation console stuff goes because it's fun for me to see anyways,
No, Microsoft is so poised right now. Like all that they're doing to attack this strategy, this obvious strategy that they have. And I think about Sony, that's been great and kind of been, they had the whole thing against used games. They definitely zigged where Microsoft zagged and took advantage of it, and have still been doing great. Everybody's loving their stuff. Their exclusives have been really cool too. They've done some good stuff somehow with Uncharted, even though that was kind of waning. They got Spider-Man, all that stuff. But what are they doing? Like, they don't have any of the direction, it seems like, that Microsoft has, right? Like, there was that news item a little bit ago where they're going to be using Microsoft's Azure Cloud's systems things for some of their stuff. So you get the feeling they know which way the wind is blowing, but I have no idea how they're going to use that or do with that. I just don't know where they're going, like I know with Microsoft.
Well, right, and I think that part of that is that Microsoft, not even today, like, or not even through E3, prior to that, they have been positioning themselves with things like Game Pass, and not only Game Pass being one of those things, but then going, okay, we're also going to put it on PC. Here you go. Oh, and now, by the way, at E3, here's a $1 Ultimate Game Pass. Get Game Pass. Get a year of Xbox Live.
$1? Is that like a trial sale or something?
No. Well, I don't know. I think it's short term. I think it was E3, but they had it for $1.
The actual price of that is $14.99 a month, I want to say.
Yeah, this was a $1 thing for, I think it was the year, for Game Pass and Xbox Live.
Yeah, Game Pass, Xbox, both Game Passes since they're doing the PC one now.
Right.
Yeah, and none of those things were even on my list, but it's... Yeah. I mean, the console, actually, the new console stuff, Scarlet wasn't even on my list. I might have just actually forgot that one. But it's also so early that they're just talking up a big game. They're definitely taking what they did with the X and going. Like they want it to be the strongest thing out there. So they boasted 120 frames per second, 8K capabilities. The dude said, I want to say.
I think it said 4K. It's 4K native, but it can upscale to 8K.
Yeah, that was for the year that Sony decided not to come. That was a good show, man.
No, I think they did a great job with that presentation too, getting that out there. It wasn't overly long. It wasn't bogged down. It was pretty quick. It was they got the information out there relatively quickly, and it was easy to digest. And I liked that. It's a cheesy video. It's totally that corporate video that you probably have made in the past, where it's like, where it's like, hey, tell us how you feel about the new Project Scarlet. Man, it's cool. Right. Yeah, but and there's one woman in the thing that is so, like, she is totally like super excited. It's really, really funny. But it was a cool presentation for it, and no, I the fact that Sony is not there, and so they're gonna have to come out and they're gonna do their own thing at some point, and is that gonna be? I don't know. Like,
we don't know. In a way, it's smart because they now have something to respond to.
Right.
That's usually the thing that happens when you wait, is you're like, okay,
Every year they do it. Like, Microsoft is so hard up to make sure they get out there first.
That's true. They did. That's how they made their headway last time when Microsoft botched that whole thing. So
yeah,
probably a smart move, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah, if you're
except Microsoft kind of pulled it off. So now they're like, well, whatever. We'll see. Actually, there was one other thing from the show I wanted to mention. Did you ever get an Xbox Elite controller?
No.
I did. I did in the most backwards way possible. I bought the whole Elite system and then sold everything but the controller and the games, and then I ended up completely evening out on the price of stuff. It, of course, just took me a couple hours to make that work. But the new Elite controller, the Series 2, they're calling it, has adjustable tension thumbsticks, which seems insane to me. Shorter hair trigger locks, which will be nice. That's the one thing I do use the most because I don't use the little paddle things on the back. And an internal battery. So I think it looks nice. I think I might actually drop just out of pocket for it now that I'm so used to and liking the one I have.
I like it.
Those are meaningful improvements. That's cool.
It does look great too. Yeah, absolutely.
You want my old one? You can have it.
Okay, sold. I'm sending you no money for that.
The Bethesda show was next.
I have one
and-
thing for Microsoft.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Please go.
That's great. You know what? No, let's just
Home.
go to Bethesda.
I just can't. Would you want to go back and talk about Flight Simulator again?
That might be it. Why not?
Okay.
There was one game that stood out to me through Microsoft.
Oh, that's right. And you sent me a link and I actually didn't watch the trailer.
No,
so
it's
you're
fine.
gonna take-
It's a game called 12 Minutes, and I'm not entirely sure everything about it because it's an E3 presentation.
Right.
I think that what they showed at E3 is very indicative of what the game is, but the game starts with, it's like an isometric game, and the game starts with this couple in their small apartment talking about, she's asking him like, are you ready for your surprise? Do you want to know what it is? And he tells her exactly what it is, and she's like, how do you know? And he says, we've done this before. We've done this before, and there's going to be somebody coming to the door because you killed your father. He didn't die from a heart attack. And there's this back and forth about it, and then this guy breaks into the house.
Keanu Reeves?
It could have been. We can't really see him right away.
But gotta be.
Because it's isometric, if they turn him around, it could be. And he's like, you're breathtaking, and then he leaves.
We didn't mention that part of the show either. Dang it.
Yes, Keanu is breathtaking.
Maybe the best.
Possibly, but then the game keeps I don't know if it stays just in the apartment, but then they show they clip over and they're in the bathroom and the guy is standing in front of his wife or partner, and the guy that's coming in breaks into the bathroom. It's not like Hello Neighbor or anything like that. This is more realistic. It's a little more I don't know. It's just more realistic than that. It's not goofy. Gotcha. It's not this is definitely meant to be played as a more serious thing than,
Hello Neighbor.
Right. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
I don't get it.
I don't either. But that game looks super great. And if it's, and then at one point, okay, yeah, I guess this is part of the thing I should mention. He actually, the guy who breaks in hits you over the head or something, and I don't know if you die, but the guy falls down and then it rewinds back to where they're sitting at the table talking. Not like a rewind, not like you see it it fades in and out or something. And then he fades back and it goes and it keeps showing different scenarios that they get into. And I'm really curious about the game and if it's more of an adventure type thing where you're going to be given options, or if it's a puzzle game where you have to do things to get the right answers. I don't know. Looked great. Super fascinated by it.
Cool.
12 minutes.
And that took probably only 3. So
Dude, nice. I'm better at that game than everybody already.
So then the Bethesda show happened.
Yeah.
And I have even less things from that show, which are maybe more things percentage-wise, because there weren't as many things at the Bethesda show.
I want to just get out ahead of something with this.
Okay.
I am 99% sure we called this days after Fallout 76 came out that they were going to do a battle royale.
That is definitely not on my list. Would you like to?
No, I have nothing to say about it. It sounds like there is nothing interesting about that to me. Nothing interesting even a little bit about what they're doing with Fallout 76.
They've continued to support it. It's got a player base. I mean, that was kind of a dicey proposition for me to begin with, and the launch definitely didn't help. So
no, not at all.
People, it's fun. It's fun for people.
People that like it.
TM.
Yeah.
No, the 3 things I thought were interesting were Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Right.
And I know we've already talked a little bit about that when the launch happened, when they announced it. It's got the buddy pass, and we were like, hey, this could be interesting. But I think if you want to play a game together, I think this might be it.
Yeah.
I think I'm sold.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm in on that one for sure.
And they're all story trailers. You know what the gameplay is. There's no surprises really, although there did seem to be some new weapons and some whatevers. But just the fact that it's kind of a relatively bite-sized thing and the co-op aspect to it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I've got a new game to talk about. Mm-hmm. We don't do that very often.
We try not to.
You got your 12 minutes. I've got my own, apparently, time-related new IP to talk about.
Oh, yeah?
Arcane's next game, the guys who made Dishonored, right? Deathloop?
No.
It looks like you may not have seen the trailer for this.
It does not sound familiar. I do remember seeing Arcane's name, but I did not see what they were doing.
So check it out. I was instantly into it because it's kind of the same premise that you've already mentioned. Like he talks about being stuck in a loop. Each time he dies, it starts over. So, I mean, roguelikes are hot now anyways.
Man, it's like the video game version of the Endless.
No, it's better.
Oh, whoa.
Probably. I don't know. But I was instantly into it both for that premise, but also because the trailer itself is like trailer of show as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so check it out at the very least for that. You want to see trailer craft at its best.
I do.
Give that sucker a look.
I mean, outside of this, it sounds like the best trailer we've seen is Suicide Squad.
Stop mentioning that during things.
I do bring it up a lot, don't I? It's really weird.
It throws off my whole flow. No, just kidding. Keep mentioning it. In fact, it's hilarious.
Don't worry.
Doom Eternal then was the other thing.
When we get to the denouement.
This might be the denouement, actually. Okay. You just Suicide Squatted the denouement of this podcast about E3 presentations.
Yes!
Yeah, Doom Eternal. They had a story trailer, and honestly, I just don't know if I have words for it. Like, we already talked about this being a day one anyways. But the trailer is like, there's new enemies in there. You can see some stuff about it. It just all started flooding back to me. Like, seeing somebody play that game, like, it just started all coming back, and how you just keep moving in that thing, and the gameplay is so tight
and consistently exciting. Like, you want to keep playing it too. Doom is totally that game, and I love that it took them so long to put that game out, but when they finally did, it was that. And that's what we got. It was amazing.
Yep.
And now they have that whole skeleton for it, and they could just go, how do we iterate on making everything bigger? Got it. Okay, done.
I have zero time to play any games whatsoever right now, and replaying that Doom game is now on my list.
Oh, man.
That's how good that trailer is. Like, I've got to, where do I get it now?
Yeah.
I don't even have the game still. I sold it. I need to rebuy it, and I don't care.
I think I might still have my copy.
You probably still have it, yeah.
I don't know. If I do, I'll send it.
And there was a multiplayer trailer too, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know, you can...
You go
Weird hangers on to that thing.
Go sit down with your friends and watch it, okay? How about that?
There you go. And that's all I had for E3. I stopped in the middle. The Suicide Squad entered my head right then, and it shuts everything down. That's all I had. Did you have anything else? He's thinking, folks.
Oh,
what he doesn't know is that I've switched his coffee.
Just something I think is very funny, and I think it's cute and cool. They announced this. I don't know if this was announced earlier, but at E3, at the Microsoft thing, the guys who who make Forza.
Okay.
They noted that Forza 4 they've got a Lego expansion coming out, and they showed some video of it. And if I had time and I had Forza, which by the way, Forza 4 Game Pass,
it's on Game. Yeah, we do actually have that game.
Yeah, if I had time to play that, like, that's a DLC I would immediately pick. Like, that to me, way better than the Hot Wheels one.
Do the DLCs come to Game Pass?
Doubtful.
Do you have to buy them separately?
That's a really good question. That seems really weird. Here, have the game, but then buy all the DLC for
it would make complete sense. Yeah, no, I wouldn't doubt it.
If you like
really
the game enough, either keep paying for Game Pass or go buy it, wang.
In fact, I feel like getting the DLC for free would be far more unexpected. Like, that's...
Yeah.
No, they're still on point with all their DLC. You're right. I thought of Hot Wheels the second I saw this and was like, they've gone one level up. This is better.
Yeah.
Even. And in a way, their DLC, like, it's kind of just a skin, although the Hot Wheels tracks were awesome.
The tracks
that's where
were
maybe
fun.
This is better than that. I don't know how they do that with Legos, because Lego tracks aren't necessarily a thing. But
I will say that there was that one issue we kept having with the Hot Wheels tracks about, we got stuck in a race where we got run off the thing, and then you don't have enough go to do the loop. So we get halfway up the loop and just go wing and fall into the
fall
ocean.
Down backwards. Yep. That was great. And it depended on the car you chose too. So sometimes you just chose a bad car, you got stuck there and you were done with the race.
Right. We just had to
dumb.
sit there. Yeah. Great
I'm
times.
sure that won't happen again because you're choosing Lego cars and
I think they
should
can-
weigh nothing.
But
and
they break. Like I think when you hit them and
Oh,
stuff, like
interesting.
the cars actually break apart.
Huh.
Instead of just
wonder
like
if they do introduce like gameplay, substantial gameplay stuff.
No,
with that.
I think it's just their way of doing the like instead of you flipping so that you're stuck on the roof,
Okay.
you break and then you come back like
Okay,
that.
yeah, it makes more sense. I would expect that to be it
Right.
rather than anything.
Oh!
So again, mostly a skin.
Sorry, one more thing.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
just curious
All right,
about
Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
This guy.
Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga.
Don't even care.
So I had no interest in it, and then I was thinking about the fact that Beth and we played those games. We really liked playing those.
Sure, I guess I care in that way.
But one of the things that I didn't like is when they started giving them voices, when they started talking.
That was for the Lego Lord of the Rings, I believe, is where that started.
And I never liked it. That made the games less fun for me. And it looks like they're going back to the not
really?
talking. They're just doing
Interesting.
the reactions.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Which makes it way more interesting to me. And some of the bits they showed, pretty funny to me. I like.
They're good. I love those bits.
No, I loved the Empire Strikes Back moment where Vader cuts off his hand and Luke kind of looks at it and Vader goes, huh, and then he pulls off his hand and goes, eh?
Yeah, classic.
Right, it's just like, and that's good quality fun, and they're great games because that is like the epitome of, we're going to sit down and play, half a level, or we're going to get to, we'll finish this part out, we'll get to a checkpoint. And
You are right. For that, I care. It's just that I've played. I played. How many Lego Star Wars games have there been? Like 5,
dude,
I
like
want to say.
13, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
I've
all the
played
Marvel
all
games.
of them except for and this is where I already got to the point with when the Force Awakens one came out, which I was kind of interested in, but still, like, the closer I got to it, I was like, no, I would go back and play a different Lego game.
Right.
One of the franchises I haven't played because now I haven't played some of the entire franchises they've done. Because there's so many,
Well, and I do like this one because it is the entire thing. It's all 9 of the movies, which is that'll be fun. I don't know if we'll pick it up, but it's cool to see.
Yeah, I don't know. And my daughter's way into them now too. So whereas I used to play those with my wife, I now have 2 people. Hey, if they did like a 4, this would be
4-player
complete garbage, like the way they've never really done split screen amazingly.
No, it's always really difficult with this.
Yeah, so it would be complete and utter unplayable garbage. But if I could play all 3 of us at once, I would get it.
Yeah,
almost for sure.
That would be cool.
And you could be there too, actually.
Yeah.
They should put online in it because that would then work.
I'll be BB-8.
There you go. So that's E3, I think.
I'm just going to roll around doing the thumbs up thing.
I laughed at that part in the movie.
Sure.
Still do.
Why not?
I'm laughing now.
You are.
And that's E3, I think, probably. Is it?
Yeah.
Is that now E3?
We've done it.
That's E3.
Good.
Everybody, if you want to talk to us, we are podcast at zerohitpoints.com. We'll be back on Thursday for book club, 4movies.com. What are we doing? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
So
the film, not just but also stay tuned.
There's a few things called Stay Tuned. In fact, I had to see them all in trying to get a copy of this movie.
Oh, man.
That'll be my first story for Thursday. So
I would have told you where to get it if you had told me that.
I'll tell you where to get it.
What?
I got it.
You could do
Amazon
me?
if you wanted.
You got it off of Amazon?
No, because that's part of the problem. Is it wasn't.
Oh, never mind. I have been lost.
We're all lost here.
Yeah.
At 0 hit points.
All who wander are lost. I think that's the quote. All that glitters is probably from a club.
Come back Thursday.
Please.